Hey guys, this is the Real Estate Podcast, and this is your host, yours truly, Matt Teifke. Real quick, before we dive in, if you don't mind, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. We want to get the message out that real estate can be for everybody. We want to share the entrepreneurship that we're learning along our journey. So before we dive into the episode, please make sure you share with your friends, and we want to continue to add value. So thank you guys, and let's dive right into the episode.
Or to kind of like help with, but like taking it to like school districts and seeing how, like he was saying, like
how
kind of like
in.
Because there's no one in school teaching people the difference between owning and renting a home. That they're not teaching about the importance of maintaining good credit. Mm-hmm. They're not teaching about how to find a job in the real world.
Taxes.
They don't teach
exactly.
that. They don't teach that.
That's the basic one, right?
So
there.
We've found, like we were very blessed, to have great influences around us our whole life, but not everyone has that. So.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Podcast, where we talk about investors, entrepreneurs, and some really cool things that people are doing. Today, we have Jack and James Dumoulin from the School of Hard Knocks. Appreciate you guys being here. We want to kind of dive in. Tell us a little bit about y'all's background, and I'm fascinated with what y'all do on social media. It's inspiring for myself as well. So thank you guys for coming here.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so you guys are from New York?
DC.
My bad. Up north. Your dad's from New York.
Yeah, my dad's from New York. We came from Washington, D.C., kind of lived there like past 10 years of our life pretty much, but then moved to Austin relatively recently.
Mm-hmm.
We've both been going to UT I've been going for the past 2 years. He's a sophomore, so I'm a senior, and just moved from DC to Austin full time probably about a year ago.
For college?
For college, but also just for like business reasons as well. It's just we just kind of fall in love with the city.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons to do here in career wise, but also just for like lifestyle as well.
Yeah, man, you guys made the right decision.
Yes, sir.
So you were looking at colleges, but also you were thinking somewhere you want to be after college. That was kind of the thought process.
Exactly. Yeah, we were just kind of trying to find a place where we could kind of like set a foundation. Since like DC and Austin are like completely different. You kind of feel the same way about that as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I guess for starters, the way I could describe it to you is growing up in D.C., people ask you what your occupation is before they ask you your name. So that's just kind of the vibe of Austin is really completely different. D.C. is very structured, and it's very based around a lot of government jobs, federal agencies, contracting, defense, whereas Austin although it is a tech hub, it's got a ton of booming industries out here, but the thing that we love about it is it's very startup oriented, and it's a very entrepreneurial minded city, which is kind of like what we're all about. And
that's cool, man.
So that's definitely why we fell in love with the city.
That's interesting. I've never been to DC, but I've heard stuff similar. It's funny that you say that, because someone told me if you're at a coffee shop or something, you're careful of who's listening or what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
I was like, really?
It's not like that out here.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like that in DC.
And it definitely.
Wow.
And the thing is, and I guess same goes with DC, but I think especially out here, you just never know who you can run into or who you're gonna meet,
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of the crazy part about Austin.
I'd say for different reasons though, honestly. It's like in DC, it's like someone's either connected through the military or a government agency or politics, and here it's honestly like especially in Austin, you could run into a guy on the street and a t-shirt and flip-flops, and he's worth $500 million. You just didn't even know.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll say about DC too is I try to tell people if you have a desire to go into politics or go work for the government or go into diplomacy, DC's the place to be for that. But as far as collaborating goes and trying to start up your own venture, that's really not the place to be.
Yeah.
At least for right now in today's day.
It's super cool to see because me and Andrew and a lot of people I know here, we all grew up here. And we know it's a great place. We call it Opportunity City, but I can feel the excitement that you guys have. So it's really cool. It just resonates more and more. Y'all are from somewhere else, but you're it's bleeding through you, how much you like being here. I can already tell. It's super
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you came here for college, and then you're like, hey, brother, you got to follow me, kind of?
100%, yeah. So kind of like we were saying, our dad's from New York, but my mom's from Texas. So we already kind of had family out here, had a couple cousins already go to UT, but pretty much it's just he was deciding between, I guess, like West Point or coming to like UT or another school, but essentially I just like saw like a ton of opportunity out here, and he kind of saw like a lot of the things that I was already doing out here, and wanted to just like do the same thing, and we kind of knew that we kind of wanted to do something together as well.
That's cool.
100%, and that was kind of my thing. Like my senior year was, it was a really tough decision because for a really long time, like I wanted to go the military route. My dad was a West Point grad and did 31 years in the Army, had an incredible career. We traveled the world with him. He was the garrison commander of the largest military installation overseas in South Korea. And so growing up and seeing all the incredible things he was able to do, that really, for a long time, I had wanted to pursue the military. But I just think after seeing him come down to Austin and some of the ventures that he was able to get into, the people that he was able to work with, through his path, and he's got an incredible story as well. That he'll have to kind of get into a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But seeing like what he was able to do, that kind of pushed me a little bit more to the path of kind of like deciding to come down to Austin and go the entrepreneur route.
Well, you got me intrigued on
sure.
the story. I mean,
Yes,
I'd love to hear what he's talking about.
Oh yeah. So basically like, you know, just like kind of a normal kid just trying to like look to go to like college and stuff, but pretty much I have like a pretty good background in working with like tech and in regards to data management, data automation, pretty much. When I was, I guess, kind of like a senior in high school, just before being like a senior in high school, I kind of took an exam to get certified in like Excel. I'm sure you're familiar with the program. Essentially, like my score on the certification exam was I got the highest score in Virginia, since we're from DC, but we're technically from like Northern Virginia,
just
like
right
that kind of like that,
city.
like just right outside DC.
Okay.
And so my score on the certification exam was, you know, 100%, like fastest time in the state, pretty much.
And it's like a Excel, like you're an expert at Excel, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like a software that takes you through a series of like problems where they kind of test like your ability to use the program and apply it using like problem solving skills, essentially. And so they kind of determine like how well you know the program. And so apparently my score on the exam qualified me for a competition, I guess competing in an Excel competition against everybody in the nation that's kind of was like a top performer in Excel as well.
That's cool.
So
is that something you were like messing with on your own, obviously, beforehand, and you naturally got it, or?
So it was actually so we grew up playing baseball, and so like I was always intrigued. Yeah, I always loved like the statistic aspect of the game, and so I used to do a ton of stuff like just growing up with it, and eventually just kind of like threw some stats into the program and just kind of taught myself like one feature after another. So when I like took the exam, it's just kind of like a normal like let me try to like boost my resume or something like that, saying like I know how to use Excel. Like
so you're like
I already knew how to use like pretty much everything in the program.
Given the batting order, their graphs and stuff on a pie chart and their batting average and all that stuff. Like,
exactly. Yeah. I like there's even like sometimes where I would just like run like an algorithm trying to like predict like how certain people are gonna like hit and stuff.
That's
like
awesome.
that. But yeah, so essentially I went down to like compete at this kind of national competition, and it was about, I guess, like the top 120 people in the US out of 320,000 total people that I guess had taken an exam. And so that competition was about like I would say it's 50 minutes, and they give you kind of a consulting problem that you got to solve using Excel. That would be able to prove that you know the technical aspect, but then also like the ability to use it like from a problem solving standpoint. Because Excel, like half the game in Excel and just like doing stuff like that is the only way that you're going to be able to do something substantial with it is if you know how to solve problems on your own. And so I ended up winning the competition.
It's awesome.
And ended up like going on to represent the U.S. in the world competition against like China, India, UK, all that stuff in LA. And then so that was about the top 120 people from 54 countries.
So it's just you? You didn't have like anyone on your team or anything?
No, I mean there were a couple other like US people there, but they were there for like other like divisions in the thing. But for the Excel like piece of it, it was pretty much it was just me really representing the US.
So it's held by a company called Certiport, and so there's one for PowerPoint, there's one for Excel, and various other kind of like applications that are widely used in like the consulting world.
And is it all like people in high school and college, or is it?
It's ages 13 to 22, so it's basically high school, college age.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to LA, representing the U.S. I guess top 120 people out of 560,000 worldwide, and I think like there were like 2 million total exams submitted to like start the actual like qualifying of people to get into this thing. And essentially I ended up like winning the competition.
You won that too?
Yeah, number one Microsoft Excel user of the entire world.
Come on. Yeah. What in the world?
And, I mean that kind of changed his life forever.
Literally.
I mean,
so
every major news like outlet did like a major article on him. I mean, you can find him everybody, Fox, CNN, Time. I mean, everybody.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it was like would you say the balance is between like, obviously you put in the hustle and the work, but like, was it really just natural, or did you spend hours and hours? And
let me just say real quick, it's natural. Like I've talked to some of the clients that he's done work for, and they've said like some of the stuff that he's able to do, it takes him 30 minutes that it takes some of these other computer engineers or whatever like 2 weeks to do. So it's like it's natural, but at the same time, like he turned his passion for like baseball statistics and was able to use that and just become incredible at this program, and it's really just opened up so many doors and opportunities for him. So, man. Yeah, but I'd say it's a combination for him. But
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, it's essentially is like just kind of like I really didn't like have a set purpose of like trying to like learn the program or like learn that kind of skill set. It was more so it's just like I was just trying to take something that, like he was saying, like really passionate about baseball. I mean, like like loved the game, and just kind of like seeing what more applications I could do with it, and it ended up just like paying off like 10 times more.
So cool.
And so essentially from there I started kind of like once I graduated high school, started my own kind of like freelance consulting business, like you were saying, like do work for clients and stuff like that. Actually worked for Buc-ee's for a period of time,
cool.
like their corporate office, like doing some work for them as well. So
like financial analysis on properties they're looking at, or
no, more like the in-house like decisions and stuff like that, kind of like dealing with like their products and like doing analytics for them on that, and how they're performing and stuff like that. So
it's more of a like you'll come in and help them build out the model, and then they kind of have that model, so they don't need you necessarily to keep doing that for them. Is that the right way of viewing that? Like, why stop working with Buc-ee's, I guess?
Oh, well, my thing is that, like, no, so I have, like, my normal clients that I work with, but Buc-ee's had, like, a unique opportunity. Like, they wanted me to actually, like, come and work for them, like, full-time, just to get kind of, like, that real-world job experience. And I was able to do that. I could go in and just over the course of a couple years, like, I was able to build them, like, a couple, like, great projects. But just for me, like, personally, it's, like, I think that
move on.
I want to,
You've added your value. Now you don't want to just be like an employee at that.
Buc-ee's is a great company. Like I thought it was an amazing experience, like working there. But I also like want to just see what I can do, like working for multiple companies or growing the school of hard knocks or any other kind of ventures that come to mind.
That's cool. It's probably kind of weird because like they're bringing you in, but no one else can really tell you what to do because like you're the expert. Right, it's like stay out of my way. Let me go, just do my thing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like I got to like basically work on like some unique projects while I was there. Just like kind of like any kind of like if they kind of needed any of their like normal Excel processes, I could like try to help like automate that in any way that I could. And so like I'm able to do that for other businesses as well.
That's great, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That's super cool. So I guess part of the goal, like it seems like you guys want to be partners, right? Like team up on stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, like, what you're doing with it, like, what the big vision is and what you're doing with it, and then, like, how you come into play. Like, it's always good. Like, me and my partner, completely opposite, and that's a great thing. And that's what makes us do really well. So, like, curious, like, what your focus and strong suit would be, and then, like, what you plan on doing with this knowledge.
For like, the Excel stuff?
Yeah, I mean, is that, like, are you trying to, like, is that something you're trying to go all in and be like, I want to continue to do this, or is that just one part of 1,000 other things?
Yeah, well, I think that it's something that has a lot of potential just because like a lot of the projects that I've been able to work on like usually has a unique skill set and that it takes like outside of just like the normal like employees that certain companies hire, especially like small to medium sized businesses. Like a lot of large companies, they can hire like as many developers as they want, but a lot of small to medium sized businesses don't have that kind of like custom software developer that can like really build them out something that could make their business drive forward. And so that's something that, you know, I'd like to continue to do, and maybe as the business grows, like have a lot of like greater technical applications. But with this guy, he's actually like he's a big influencer on TikTok. So he's got almost 1 million followers on his own personal channel. So he's a big expert on content creation and kind of today's game that it comes into in regards to like working with the new social algorithms. He's kind of been able to master it a little bit. And so for him, like that's a big part where he could be able to help me out. And has been a real big help, like with the School of Hard Knocks as well, like being an expert in that division.
Yeah, that's perfect. Two different
absolutely.
sides.
Yeah,
I love the channel, man. I mean, I'm like, this is fascinating to hear what people say.
We actually do. We have a third partner as well. Our friend in DC, his name's Joshua Smith. He couldn't be here because he's still in DC, but. Yeah, like big marketing guy, has a ton of experience in marketing as well, and so like the three of us just kind of we essentially grew up together.
It's kind of crazy how we all met. We all met through Boy Scouts. We were all Eagle Scouts together.
Cool.
And so Josh is 23.
He's 23. Yeah.
He's 21,
I'm 21
and I'm 19.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we just always stayed like connected because we always kind of had a similar vision that like you know. We grew up together, and we kind of like Jack and I came out to DC, but you know we always kind of kept in touch, and we always kind of you know thought, especially towards the end when we were leaving, we got even closer, and we were like, you know, like we want to do something together, you know, one day, you know, like we had a special friendship with him, and
especially in DC, it's just like there's not a lot of like, especially just growing up there, everybody's very corporate or government structured minded, like guess like from a parent's perspective, and it kind of passes down to kids. So a lot of like the people in that area just like and there's nothing wrong with that, like that like that's just, if that like works for you, that's great, but there's not a ton of like entrepreneurial minded like people, especially young people like growing up in that area.
You guys are like, we're the three, let's stick together.
Exactly. There's a couple other like people that we got in contact with, but really it's
Definitely.
just like not to the point of like knowing someone that well that also has that kind of same vision and goals, and we were just kind of like we got to do something together. Sure. It just like it makes sense. Like Josh and I had been talking like one of the only people like from that area that I would like keep in contact with, talking about like, you know, even just like right out of high school, talking about, you know, like investing and real estate and just and entrepreneurship and those aspects, just getting really excited about it and wanting to learn more. And then he went on to start his own, I guess, kind of like marketing agency pretty much. Did that for a little while and then
scaled it really well with a friend, and then
they kind of had some different visions and, you know, went two different directions, but super skilled marketer, and so we'd always just kept in touch on that end.
And Josh, and I'll just try to briefly say too, like he, you know, went to go work with a social media marketing and networking startup, and you know he's done very well with various ventures as well. So kind of like he was saying, just kind of always kept in touch and always shared a similar vision. And just to kind of add on to like something he said too, it's growing up like where we grew up, a lot of people they tend to view things with a very narrow lens and have a very limited perspective on a lot of things. You know, it's kind of like that's kind of another thing too. Like we were very fortunate and blessed to grow up. We traveled the world. He's been to over 20 countries. I've been to about 18, and we tend to view things from like a worldview as opposed to like a very narrow lens, which I think has really helped us open our eyes on a lot of
like no
things.
Ceiling type of approach, that sort of thing.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Yeah,
you know?
Amen. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of like you were saying, like right when we were like getting ready to like kind of like, you know, we're done with DC, like we're coming to Austin full time, like not just for school, like we want to live here, that sort of thing. Got like, you know, got really close with Josh and kind of like that last month that we were there. And as we transitioned down to Austin, we all just kind of like started formulating an idea of like let's do a business together. And so Josh actually had an idea for and it's funny, this is actually how the Hard Knocks page started. Is he wanted to like he had an idea for an esports kind of media channel, pretty much more so directed in like the Call of Duty sector.
And so essentially just the goal with that one starting out was just because Josh has monetized on like several YouTube channels and he's pretty good with YouTube, and we figured, you know, we'll do YouTube, we'll do TikTok, we'll do Instagram. And I mean, because I've scaled numerous accounts on TikTok to have, you know, several 100,000 followers, I know the algorithm very well, and then also with Jack as well, he's a great content creator as well, and we just kind of figured that we'd kind of grow them on multiple channels and monetize. So that was kind of the goal at first, but
yeah. So we started like I guess just using Josh's knowledge of kind of like the I guess esports Call of Duty game, because that's something that he was pretty passionate about, and using kind of like my analytical background and his content creation background, trying to like just build like a media channel around that. But as we kind of like went along through it, we just kind of realized that this isn't something that we're all 100% passionate or all in on right now, this kind of like topic. Not to say that I think that esports is like a huge growing market, like that's going to be huge for people that are like super passionate about it, and it's something that I think that I could be passionate on later on, but as of right now it's just not something that like I have like 100% wanting to dedicate my time to. And so we just were we actually scaled the channel like to a decent number, like over 10,000 followers, but we were just like, let's transition to something that the three of us could like build something like a great foundation on. And then so that's why we wanted to transfer, like even though like we're kind of young guys, we're just like, why don't we try business content, why don't we try
started from scratch.
Just said, like we did good with this, but like we if we're gonna do it, we need to do it right. And so transform to business content came up with the name School of Hard Knocks. It's a common phrase, kind of like comes from I guess the class of life teaching you like the hard lessons. And so it kind of formulated an idea of just like, we want to be able to like provide for people that are, provide content for people that, especially in our age demographic, that might be a little lost in their way or just like don't have something they're necessarily passionate about, and be able to take like the content that we give them and try to formulate, maybe a little bit of inspiration to try to do something like great with their life, that sort of thing. So
that's cool.
That's kind of like where we got the idea from.
And so like you guys are, I've seen a lot of the stuff. It seems like you're just walking up to people and talking to them.
It's really cool because we've had some pretty big business owners even reach out to us and say, hey, like let's connect, like and so we've done that. But honestly, we just kind of find people all over downtown Austin. We're definitely planning on going to different cities.
That's cool.
And Dallas, Houston, we want to hit West Coast, East Coast, and we want to hit like all up and down, and eventually take it to Europe, and go to like London and places like that.
I see people I know on the downtown Austin. It's funny, I'm like, I know that guy.
Oh, that's awesome. Like the crazy thing is you never know who we're gonna run into. Like just within the last 2 weeks we've ran into like the former chief marketing officer or chief marketing executive of T-Mobile, the CEO of Hop Dotty, the CEO of Silicon Labs. So it's just crazy because you never know who you're gonna run into. And I'll tell you, it's amazing to really get like the support from some of these people, because they love it, and that's kind of really what motivates us and like keeps us going. And also all the people that reach out to us from all around the world, really. You never, there's people from just random countries that'll just send us a DM and say, hey man, I was lost, but some of your content has like really inspired me, and just please keep it up. And so that, like, getting messages like that, it's kind of like,
and the crazy part too is like we don't even think like we're even like that big to that point yet. Like we still like we still try to view it as like we're still like from the ground up pretty much. And so like when we get DMs like that, we're like, wow, like that's crazy that this piece of content like influenced somebody like that. But yeah, so and the crazy part is like the channel didn't necessarily start out doing like trying to go find people like in downtown Austin like to go interview. It like originally started like we tried to make our own kind of content, but then realized it's just kind of like, what if we could like go out and like get other people's perspective other than our own, because it's like although like we're ambitious young guys, it's like we still like have a lot to go in regards to like building our brand and our credibility in regards to being able to like tell people about topics of like entrepreneurship and stuff. Like we're really early in the game, so it's just like being able to go. We were just kind of like, all right, let's try to get some other people's perspective. So we started just interviewing kind of like almost anybody, kind of just like whether it's like college kids or like just adults and stuff. So we would just go to people on the street, ask them a question, whether it's like kind of like a finance question. Like our big like number one question that we used to ask people was like, if you had 1 year to make $1 million and your life depended on it, what would you do and why? So that's kind of like our original like question that we kind of fell in love with, and then just realized, like asking people like college students stuff is great, but what if we went to the heart of Austin where a lot is going on, business-wise,
especially downtown near that like financial district. It's, again, like you've got Google, you've got Facebook, you've got Amazon, you've got all these major, you know, Fortune 500 companies that have headquarters down there. So it's like, you know, you never know like who you could see coming in or out of there. And so that's why it's, you know, just been, it's been crazy to get perspectives from people from all over the city. And I mean, it truly has been awesome.
I love it, man. I'm super excited to see what you guys do.
Thank you.
Over the next coming years of your career. What is the big vision? Like, is this School of Hard Knocks, is this the business, or is this just something you guys really enjoy and you're going to build and you're going to do 50 other things? Like, how are you viewing everything?
I think for us, it's like really a lot of it, we want to just kind of take it day by day, like make sure that we get like, you know, like the content up on the channel and really just try to keep growing the social channels as big as possible.
Just to interject real quick, like focusing on growth is still the biggest thing right now. We want to scale and get as big as we can on there. You know, like we want to hit 500K like by the end of the year, you know, so keep going though.
Yeah. And but we do have like a couple like other applications that we want to do with it. Potentially we really want to like pair like e-commerce as well, like with this as well, maybe being able to bring like motivation to people through not only like the content but also through physical products. So that would be like via like motivational like canvas art, also like planners, journals, stuff like that could help like anybody, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or go the corporate route or, you know, be a freelancer or something like that. Whatever it may be, we want to just be able to like provide also through not just like the content but also physical product, like something that could help you in your journey as well. And so that's kind of where we see kind of like a next phase going as we like continue to grow. But then also long term, we'd love to like help change like, I guess, financial literacy for people in schools, especially
in schools.
Financial literacy, but also just anything to do with just like going out into the real world. Kind of like a question. It's kind of on topic with a question that we started asking people recently is, what's the best piece of advice that you have for anybody going out in the real world today? Like, I guess getting out of school or, I guess deciding to just, even if you decide not to go to school, like you're going out like in a trade or just you're going out to start a business. Essentially, what's the best piece of advice you have for someone? So, something that we just wish that we would have gotten more growing up in the school system, was we wish that they would have taught more about not only financial literacy, but also just like more so helping people with career building and career finding. Because I feel like there's a lot of people that they go to college and they just have no idea what they want to do, or they're doing something, they're paying a bunch of money to study something that they don't even like, or that they don't even know that they don't like it, or they're just doing it for the money.
Right.
And it's really, we want to kind of build like a platform that could help people kind of have that figured out by the time they get there, so that they really like make the best decision like going forward for their life. Pretty much.
We would love to find a way to like, you know, once we get this thing like big enough to the point where like we could, you know, even bring some other people on board to kind of like help with, but like taking it to like school districts and seeing how, like he was saying, like kind of like because there's no one in school teaching people the difference between owning and renting a home. That they're not teaching about the importance of maintaining good credit. They're not teaching about how to find a job in the real world.
Taxes.
They don't teach that. They don't teach that.
That's the basic one, right?
So
there.
We've found, you know, like we were very blessed, you know, to have great influences around us our whole life, but not everyone has that. So it's like, you know, us being exposed to that kind of gave us great perspectives early on, but not everyone else has that. And that's kind of like why, like, we think that like if there's a way that we could kind of like go to school boards or school districts and try to get them to help implement like more like classes or programs that are designed to instill kind of like values or just the knowledge in people early on of like, you know, how to go into the real world, not super confused, and even go into school, you know, like having a basic idea of what you want to do going into college, or if you're not going to college, then go into the real world. Yeah, man, we actually went and like taught real estate classes to, I'm applying, hopefully I'm going to be a professor of real estate at ACC. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No way. That's awesome.
But we actually went to Round Rock High School, and we went back to high school and taught a real estate class. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
So I agree,
awesome.
man. Like, I wish someone would have came in and talked to me about real estate, or any of these things. So that's super cool. That's a really good vision.
Thank you.
And there's obviously a need for that, you know. So, and any way we can help with that, man.
Thank you.
I know some people.
We appreciate that. Seriously.
Yeah. Because like part of the thing that we want to do too is be able to like not only like utilize ourselves and like kind of like incorporate our personal brand into that content, but like we said, like we're early on in the journey, so we want to like be able to pair with like people that are like business influencers or people like that have a lot of credibility and be able to bring that to the table. To provide that for students or just anybody, or even people in like their mid-20s that just like didn't really get a great foundation for it.
Sure.
And like just, you know, they want to like, I want to change my life by the time I'm 30. Like they even can get on the content too, and
Dude,
just and listen to, you know, guys like yourself or other like business influencers out there that, and not even business too. Like you could get people from healthcare, you get people from, you know, in law. Even like people that do trades like mechanics and stuff, like, you know how helpful it would be if like in school they taught you how to like change a tire and like make it a requirement and like have to like be able to like take care of your car and stuff like that. Like they don't like they leave it up to the parents, and not everybody has that foundation at home. So, yeah, dude,
it's so true, man. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of people that are really smart thinking about the educational system, but I remember thinking all these things in high school with my buddies, like, what are we learning? Like,
exactly.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
And we were like, we need to stage a revolt and like march, you know, all this stuff, and like,
100%.
But it's real and everyone knows it. And then, but there's like private schools and this and that, but there's a big need. So that's super cool that like you're using your skill sets, but then you have a vision and a passion for something that's actually going to do some real good out there. How does the Excel play into any of this, or is that just a side business consulting type deal for you? Or
yeah, it's separate, but of course, like using like the skill, kind of like the same like analytics skills. So it's like I can use that in this kind of setting
and
as well.
If you turn this into a big business, like there'll be a lot of applications.
And the other thing too is he knows like 6 or 8 like computer programming languages, so he can build out an app if we need to, or just something like that. So I mean, his skill set in that regards is like so wide that it's like, you know, like it'll, you know, long term it'll definitely be very like usable in this sense with Hard Knocks, because we'll definitely have something that we'll end up building out.
I'm super pumped for you guys, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Because, you know, life goes by fast. I'm 30 right now, and like I remember being y'all's age, and like I'm quickly 30, but like looking at y'all and like I can feel the passion, and I'm super excited to see what y'all do.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate that.
Anything else you guys can think would be important as far as like things that you need or things that you'd want listeners to hear while we're here? Like any ask or ways people can add value for you, anything like that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you know, go check us out. The School of Hard Knocks on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're on all the social channels pretty much. Literally, like, you know, throw us a follow, and if you're interested in, I guess, you know, you have something that, you know, if you'd like to connect with us and I guess come on the platform, or just like even do like something like this, like we would love to do that, just because we think that a lot of people have really fallen in love with the content, especially even people in the interviews, just like whether it's just someone that we interviewed that is like a high net worth individual, or just anybody that we just kind of like have talked to, like going up to people and really kind of like explaining the vision like very briefly and just getting to know them as a person, like a 5-minute conversation. They've fallen in love with it. So if like you check out our content at the School of Hard Knocks, and you know, you like it as well, you're, you know, more than welcome to reach out, you know, talk to us, either come on the platform, or if you know anybody out there that you think would be great to like, you know, interview, or as well as maybe doing a setting like this, like come on a podcast, something like that. We'd love to like.
And I was also going to say, you know, for you guys as well. I mean, when our third partner Josh, when he gets down to Austin, we're gonna find a way to get like our podcast set up. So we'd love to have you guys on to talk about real estate. I mean, really, you guys talk about like talk about real estate in Austin, what you think the future looks like, and just kind of dive into that. We'd love to have you guys on.
Yeah, we'd love to, man. We'll absolutely stay in touch, and
for sure,
we're big on like trying to figure out ways to grow with other people. Y'all will really like my partner Alex. Just a quick background on him: we grew up together, but he was 3 years younger than me. And at age 20, he was full-blown heroin addict and in jail.
Wow.
And now he's 7 years sober, and he's freaking wakes up at 4 a.m. and works out, and he's probably in this room over here like drawing all these plans. I mean, he is super sharp.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
very very inspiring.
I'm like this guy's the ultimate entrepreneur. Like seriously, you have to talk to him. I mean, he would be great for y'all to meet and get to know.
For sure.
What about just a random idea for you? I haven't thought through it fully. I was gonna say it after the podcast, but like this is cool to get like real stuff out there. Like,
absolutely.
Is there a way that what you're doing can apply to the homeless? Like, you know, going up to those guys and talking to them. Have you thought about anything like that?
We've actually someone that we ran into downtown Austin. He's very successful. He's in real estate his whole life, and he told us that he said, and also, like, what you guys should do is go up to, you know, the homeless people and not ask them the same questions.
Yeah, be different.
But talk to them, maybe. Yeah. You know, like,
how do you view the world? Like, what's going on?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's definitely something that we've thought about. Just gotta, you know, find a way to, you know, be careful doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
I
just thought about that.
That's an incredible idea. I think it's something that we definitely want to bring to the channel as well, because, like we said, we want to get like all perspectives.
Right.
And I think like that perspective, like, it could be just as valuable as somebody who's like gone out and like made a ton of money.
Absolutely.
If not like more.
Yeah.
I guess helpful in a way. Like,
probably, yeah.
Because even though they're in a tough situation, their perspective could be quite grand. We actually we did talk to a guy that was homeless, and we actually did get an interview with him. But I think like we're waiting until we like get a lot more content with that to go live with it.
Yeah.
But his like answer and perspective was amazing. Like, it was
great.
It was amazing.
It was pretty
Dude,
good.
I
like,
know.
like,
I've talked to these. I'm like, wow. Like, this guy.
You'd be
genius?
surprised. You'd be surprised.
You're just like wow, and it, you know, it's life. Like, you know, like you can. It's kind of
it can happen, man. It's like I've heard someone said like that could be any of us.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
A couple changes in our life, and you know,
find yourself in a tough situation, and it but yeah, I mean, they carry a ton of perspective.
Yeah.
That not really a lot of people can't relate to. So,
right.
Yeah, I do love that idea. It's something that like we definitely want to like add to the channel at some point.
Coming soon, baby.
Absolutely.
School of Hard Knocks, boys. Really appreciate y'all coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I'm super pumped up. So, thank you guys. The Real Estate Podcast, School of Hard Knocks. Trying to give out value every time we can. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.